Alright, welcome to the day 2 of the World Championship recap. Today we have one of the most amazing best of 5 series that I have ever seen in the competitive Hearthstone. And on top of that, we have Gabi, Gyu, Loftstorm, Fury Hunter, Inkuro, Maxi, all incredible players battling for the first two spots to the top 8 in Group C and D and looking to make a good opening to this World Championship. So, without further ado, let's get to the games. Right, first of all, we have Loftstorm versus Gyu. Gyu on the Protoss Rogue, being the only player that has decided to bring Protoss Rogue into the tournament, versus Loftstorm's Quest Warrior. And I have left the sound on because I have the option to do that with the clean feed without any commentary or any other disruptions. So if you guys want want me to keep the sound, please let me know. If you like it, if you don't, if you want me to turn it on off, also please let me know. And yeah, let's keep going. All right, the Protoss Rogue intends to have an early game with creature with the Space Rogue Collector, push some early damage then, and finish off the game with the Protoss minions, making an Archon, maybe making even multiple Archons, with also Chronal or Deos for that extra combo potential. And we have a choice here immediately for Gyu. He decides to go with the 5/4 elusive Zephyrus to hopefully push some damage. The 4 health breakpoint is not ideal into the warrior, since this is the breakpoint where the warrior can deal with the minions the most easily, with Hostile Invader plus a spell. And he gets double Soulfire, also not something that you really want to see. I would imagine that he was hoping for some damage that he could just slot into his curve along the way, rather than just, rather just something that has to sit in hand the entire game. Yeah, and here Coin Bob looks kind of like a decent option. You can go for refresh, you can get a free drop, and play that free drop, get a lot of stats in play. Yeah, definitely don't go for the cosplay contestant here, because that could turn into a hostile invader, which would end up clearing your own board, or help your opponent clear your own board with the death rattle of that minion. So he correctly doesn't go for that one. He picks a smaller Henchklantfag instead. Here Loftstorm has the choice between playing the Invader and playing the Ancient of Yore. I would personally go for the Invader. It clears the 5/4 and the 3/3 eventually, and it clears the 1/2 now. An Ancient of Yore really doesn't address this board, and you're kind of hoping for a spell off the top. If you don't find one, this board will push a lot of damage. And this is actually an interesting spot, because from Gyu's perspective, he does not know that King Lane is not in Loftstorm's hand. So if the King Lane happens to be in Loftstorm's hand, he actually just has lethal here with Garona Soulfire. And it is quite reasonable to just go for it, I think. Sometimes the warrior hand just does not have much to do and needs to play the Yor here. Does not find King Lane in warrior's hand, and the warrior top decks a brawl, which will allow him to win this board up, or decides to bob first to save the brawl for the next turn. And from now, this is gonna get a little tougher for Gyu now. Once the warrior clears this initial board, stops the initial push of damage with the Crocolisk and the brawl, he will need to go for a large Protoss combo. Maybe utilizing this Dawnmaster Dorian to get a 1-cost copy of one of the Protoss minions, maybe a 1-cost copy of Deos, if he can draw his Kingslayer weapon, allowing him to set up that legendary draw before he goes for it. Does not find the Kingslayers, which I think was what he was hoping for. He didn't really want to overdraw the 2-1. Not sure if I agree with that. With the prep, but he does have Dorian Blink for the next turn too, if this board were to get cleared, which it probably will. You could go for Invader Crocolisks here. It doesn't work particularly cleanly. You leave the 2-1s up, and Lovestorm does decide to do it instead of the Brawl. I think I would personally prefer to Brawl this board, but well, I'm not sure if that's correct. He does draw his Protoss minion. There aren't that many ways for the warrior to clear a stealth Dark Templar, which is important to note, and this is something that you is probably thinking about right now. If I play this Dark Templar and kill the Invader, yes, it will be at 1 HP, but it is only exactly second hostile Invader that punishes me for this play. And the opponent kind of did not play an Invader on turn 5, so there is a reasonable hand read here where the Dark Templar might stick. He decides to even trade the 5 damage away to make it more likely that even if they have hostile Invader, maybe they don't have a spell to go along with it. They do have both, so the Templar will get cleared. You can visibly see that Yu is not happy about it at all. And now this is getting a little difficult because this hand just does not do very much from the rogue. Stalgav prep Doobie, tries to empty his hand, gets a third Templar drawn, which he needs to be cautious about now, because if he draws the 4th one, then this Blink will draw nothing, and this Dorian activation will not be available. He Photon Cannons his own minion. I'm assuming there is some sort of setup with this, where he's gonna be allowed to play the Protoss minions maybe even next turn, and even if not next turn, then soon. But Lovestorm has a lot of pressure coming down with this Marin, drawing into the crown right away with the wand, putting down an extra Elise on the board, and even swinging this Bulwark just to maintain the board and remove the Stalgav. He draws the High Templar, so this Blink does absolutely nothing, and it just appears that none of his cards in hand actually do much of productive things at all. Really only the Zilliax seems like a reasonable play here, but that'll get met with Lovestorm Zilliax, and the game would end right there. Yu is trying to think of like creative ways to get out of this game, does not decide to go for a Zilliax, decides to go for a Dark Templar instead, try to stick it, and just makes an extra hand space with this Blink. Unfortunately, that will get answered with the second copy of Crocolisks plus the Great Dracorex. It's a very unlikely answer for the warrior to have. But, I mean, if they have it, they have it, and there's not much you can do. Decides to play the lane first. Yeah, Yu knows it with the 8 mana left, that the warrior is just going to the Dracorex. And he'll just look at his last draw and concede, as he is not gonna be able to do all the remaining damage. Lovestorm will end up taking this series 3-0 and advance to the winner's match, where he will face the winner of Gabi versus Phil. And in this one we have the Egg Warlock versus Gabi's Cycle Rogue. A little bit of a technical difficulty at the start of this game of getting Gabi's hand, but we have a Mauler in play. Phil, a little bit of an awkward hand, which is a problem of this Egg Warlock, where if you don't draw the egg, then the deck does not look very good. Gabi, meanwhile, shadow steps the Mauler, finds a whole bunch of Asteroid, decides to go for the Eat the Imp. Will be able to call it in the Everything Must Go as well. Although the Platy did hit the Incendious, just maybe not ideal. But Gabi gets the Call of the Fresh Lord, I think is the spell called, in hand, with comes from Edo, is the Trash Fleet. Blah. I don't know what that word means, I'm sorry. English is not my first language. So, anyways, we have the Edo on the board, and it does start just buffing the minions that Gabi has in hand, or in play, with the permanent spell that stays in hand as long as Edo is on the board. And Philfield can't really do much about it. I mean, this Egg Warlock deck is only really designed to kill the egg a lot of times. Not really very good at killing enemy minions. Like, you would much rather just kill your own egg a bunch and then make a lot of 20/20s. But if you play your egg on turn 5, that's a lot more difficult to do. And the buff keeps on buffing, and the minions are getting just very big and out of range. And I'm not sure if Filfil can do anything, right? I don't think he can... Or he can pop the egg, I suppose, with this Abusive Sergeant and Drain Soul and Spirit Bomb. But yeah, this is not a great idea to just make 1 20/20 with nothing else against a rogue, or with a 1/1, since the Dubious Purchase is a card, and Gabi has O Manager and Dubious Purchase in hand to be able to destroy the Abusive Sergeant first, then destroy the 20/20. Yeah, not a great situation for Filfil, as this will end the game, and Gabi will go up 2-0. And unfortunately for Filfil, this Egg Warlock will just not perform for him, and will just lose all 3 of the games in this series, and Gabi will advance to the winner's match of Group C. And now we have Lofstorm versus Gabi in the winner's match. This is Warrior versus Shaman. The Shaman has a very interesting keep with double location Hagafa, allowing him to coin the location, then play the second location, play the Hagafa on turn 3. And it appears we had a little bit of an issue there, but it is all fixed now. Gabi does keep the quest, as you kind of have to in this matchup. I'm not actually thrilled about playing the goggles here. I think you're supposed to probably try to save the goggles for Invader, rather than just play it early. Especially that the Invader would be really good against the Frosty Decor that comes from Hagafa, usually at this point. Gabi just plays the For Glory for 4 mana. Says that the hero power is not worth too much, and decides to draw 2 cards instead, quickly, not waiting for the discount to get bigger. Immediately brawls this board, even though it's not that large, being scared maybe of Wish Upon a Star here that could come down with the another slime. And the problem is there is a Growth-in, and that's going to happen anyways on a relatively large board. And there is not much that the warrior can do because he doesn't have a brawl. Finds a Bob off the top to be able to answer this board for a moment. I think, oh, he's just gonna draw the hammer instead of even Furious Fowls. Be able to kill the Bob, push a bunch of face damage, staring down 25 on the board. The warrior will be able to clear a little bit, so that they're not dead yet. But the second wish is very scary here. So are these 8/8s, and so is the Muradin, really. Are they 8/8s? They are 10/11s, actually. And with 1 brawl down and a Bob down, it sounds like a very appealing option to just play the 10/11s and say that Gabi has to have the second brawl, or he will just explode to this board. And the Great Dracorex is not going to do it against this. He looks for an out in Elise. Does not really find anything of value. I mean, he finds Discover a spell, which is probably what you're looking for. On city defenses is just not going to be anywhere near enough to defend against this board, and the Shaman just goes up, beats the warrior, and puts Lofstorm into a 2-1 lead, which he will later on win this match 3-1 and win the Group C and advance to the advance to the top 8. So big congratulations to him, being a 3rd player to make it there. No European player in top 8 yet, just 1 APAC players with definition and 2 Chinese players so far. And now going on to the next group, we have Maxi versus Fury Hunter. These are 2 very well-known players in the Western community. Fury on the Dragon Warrior versus Maxi Cycle Rogue. This Dragon Warrior is a unique bring that only Fury and Pocket decided to bring. Not a great situation for Fury immediately, as he does not have the dragon to activate these Dark Riders. So he decides to coin the 2-mana spell to try to search for one, and does not find it. Maxi has the best card on turn 2, being the weapon. And normally the Dragon Warrior deck has Stadium Announcer to destroy that weapon and break off the Everything Must Go combos that the Warrior could do. But unfortunately for Fury, he coined that 2-mana spell earlier, which does not allow him to coin out the Stadium Announcer on turn 3. Yeah, Maxi will just prep the Dubious Purchase, find the second prep. There is an Eat the Imp also, so as long as he can find a cheap minion next turn, this Everything Must Go will be coming down. This is just a 1/6, not particularly scary. And this is not a super cheap minion, but it will probably be cheap enough. Decides to Shadow Step only once. I am not sure whether Shadow Stepping this an extra time would have been good. In hindsight, it definitely would have paid off, as this Everything Must Go ends up costing 1 at the end of the turn, not 0. Whether, yeah, I am not a Cycle Rogue expert, so I am not sure if the decision to Shadow Step only once was correct there. I did not do the calculations on the odds, but I'll trust Maxi on this one. Fury does play the Elise and does find Raptor's Attack, which is a very strong combination, allowing him to clear the boards very well, as you can see on the graphic in the left. And Maxi just takes a slow turn here, knowing that his Everything Must Go probably will not be coming down on turn 5 here, since he used both the preparations already. Decides to keep the Mauler in hand to make his next turn better, especially if this location has Raptors that clears up these Phoenixes. Yeah, and right now this is like kind of awkward for Fury, as playing the location is not great here because you're just gonna get hit with Everything Must Go. So he decides to play this Life Form instead, which is a free 8, and also gets an extra bonus effect whenever it gets hit with damage. Gets a Divine Shield here, which is actually kind of clutch, making it very, very hard to remove. But Maxi finds the Asteroids, being able to remove them easier. Eats the correct Platy, so that he doesn't discard his EMG, and he plays 2 Everything Must Goes on turn 6. Not the fastest time to play the Everything Must Go that I've ever seen, but it's going to be probably pretty sufficient. It's still a very scary board for the Dragon Warrior to deal with, as that deck does not have great removal. Yeah, he does have Chronolord Epoch, but unfortunately that destroys only played, not summoned minions. So that is not going to cut it here. Does clean up everything except for the 2/3 of Lifesteal and the 2/1. Did actually have the option to clean up the 2/3, but decided to go face instead. Which I am not sure about against the Lifesteal minion. Especially since you know what your next turn is here. Since like you pretty much expect the Cycler Rogue to always play Insidious as soon as they have the access to 7 mana. Maxi is taking his time to think about whether he wants to break off that Divine Shield to get to the Death Rattle of this 2/1 faster. Decides that the answer is yes. And Fury arguably does have a lot of life total left, so that maybe he can control the Rogue, especially if this Chronolord Epoch being able to kill the Insidious. Yeah, as a tiny bit of a board. Unfortunately for Fury, Maxi does not find any Asteroids off the top, and we can see that Maxi has 5 Eruptions and an Asteroid remaining in the deck, so that Wisp will be the last real card in the deck, resulting in, I think this is lethal. Yeah, you can see Maxi drinking, so relaxed, knows that his turn is done and the game is won already, as he's managed to queue up all of these moves even before we saw the animations. And Maxi would take this series 3-1, winning against the Shaman and the Dragon Warrior more, which leads us to the last series of the day, the winners match in Group D. I did not show Inkuro versus Tianming. Inkuro was able to win that series very easily, 3-0. And now, this is probably what I would advertise as one of the best series that I have ever seen. So buckle up. First game, we have Inkuro's Hunter versus Maxi's Quest Warrior. Hunter does start with an IL in hand, so very good opening hand for them. Also a minion to push some chip damage while the warrior can't remove it. Really, really nice hand for Inkuro to start with. Yeah, the location will allow the Nail to be played for 2 mana and for a hero power click alongside with it. Finds Birdwatching, takes it. This is already a turn where you could consider playing a scout with multiple discovers. Inkuro does not decide to do it. Decides to take a Grifta. Double location, still very strong, allowing him to spend a lot of mana in the remaining few turns. This Mixologist Potion, I think, had plus health on it, so if this board were to stick, that would have been really scary. Maxi does top deck the safety goggles though, to be able to get a full clear of Hostile Invader. And now Inkuro does play the Grifta, looking for mostly 6 damage, but the discount isn't bad here. Does find it. Bounces the Grifta back because he is going to have plenty of mana coming in, as this Pupil is not full yet. Maxi plays this Invader, which I would find a little questionable. I think I would have preferred to play the Yor over the Invader here, but I am also not going to argue on that one that much. And honestly, there is going to be a lot of stuff happening for the Hunter anyways. So, yeah, we pupiled the discount and we have another pupil in hand with, I think, even more discounts to go. A lot of cards cost 0. We give plus health to our minions too, just so that they're more resilient. Inkuro double freezes the invaders, making this board much more difficult for Maxi to deal with. Even decides to not buff the glacial shards because he knows he will want board space back for this next turn coming up. Yeah, so these discount turns, they are very difficult, and I would like to appreciate how much effort Inkuro has done to manage this turn. Maxi is very scared of what could happen on this upcoming turn. Given that the Grifta has gotten a second discount, there is a lot of mana cheating going on in the Hunter. And Inkuro goes double scout, takes another 3 discounts, being able to discount all of these minions by 3. He could even play double Incendius right now if he wants to. Unfortunately, that will mean that he won't be able to hero power, and he just decides that he's okay with that. The Incendiuses are also very difficult to clear for the warrior, as the warrior would need the second brawl. I think it's the only option. The Great Dracorex does not get there, and there are no hostile invaders left to try to help out. Yeah, the Great Dracorex will come down and will clear everything except for the Incendiuses. But unfortunately for Maxi, this is going to just be a lot of damage, since there are 10 eruptions that deal 3 in the deck. And he is only at 16 health total. The Sylvanas also will deal 2 damage each for a total of 6. Inkuro finds draw a card from Niri too, or from the Mixologist for Niri. And he draws 2 cards with it, draws a lot of eruptions off the top, and actually just kills the warrior straight up. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy game from Inkuro. Lots of discounts, lots of crazy things happening, and he will go up 1-0 in this series. But we're not done yet, since we have, well, the next game in this series. The Egg Warlock just beats the Warrior, makes a lot of eggs on turn 6, I think, and Warrior was never able to find a brawl to clear them up, so that game did not have much of a story. But we go to the game 3 of this series, where the Cycle Rogue goes up against Maxi's Warrior, which was not able to win a game until now. Yeah, the Warrior against Cycle Rogue. So the way this matchup usually goes is the Warrior tries to just out-armor the Cycle Rogue combo. And what is very beneficial for the Rogue is to get the early minions on board and push a lot of damage with them, as Inkuro is doing here. With Double Wisp allowing him to get this Phoenix down. Maxi does have the new heights though, which will allow him to get the hostile invader down next turn. And Inkuro kind of expects that a little bit, so he's going to try to hedge around it, save the dubious purchase for that possibility. Yeah, thanks to the Space Rock Collector, he does not need to coin to play this own manager, so he's able to draw 2 cards from the map and also pick up the Incendious with as the second card. Yeah, Inkuro will just prep Doobie to get rid of this hostile invader. No more board clearing for you, Mr. Invader. And the Phoenix will come down trying to push even more damage, and Inkuro does have Coin Incendious available to him. Yeah, which will just happen, as this Incendious is actually a very hard minion to clear with 10 hit points. Only the Shield Slammer really with a Unleash the Crocolisk would be an answer, which Maxi does not have the Shield Slam part of that combo. So he will need to wait for another day to be able to clear it. And there is a Shadow Step in the Rogue's hand, which that does seem very good to just be able to Shadow Step the Incendious after even taking a trade with it. Shuffle 5 more eruptions, buff all 10 or 9 of the eruptions that are in the deck at this point. Just able to stack up more damage, especially since there isn't much card draw going on in the Rogue hand anyway. Yeah, Maxi just does decide to play gain 10 twice to brawl the Incendious away with the Crocolisks. Inkuro does not have card draw, but he manages to pick up Dreadlich Tamsin to be able to provide that to him. And Maxi does need to address this board with a Ziliax, going all the way up to 56 life total. There is about 12 plus 10, 22 eruption damage in the Rogue's deck. Plus, with the Falnos would mean 9 more, so 31 eruption damage. And there are also, I think, asteroids, and there is a Moonstone Mauler with a Shadow Step. So there is lots of damage in the Inkuro deck, right? There are also 3 more asteroids. So with Falnos, that's 40. And Mauler and a Shadow Step, so the max damage I think is 59, even if the Rogue was not able to push any minion damage this game whatsoever. Now we go down to 55 with having drawn that eruption. Still, the Warrior is very much in range of that, and there are also 2 Everything Must Goes coming down this turn. And a 3/3. Quite a massive board too. Does roll a 6/6, so he decides to hold on the Phoenixes, doesn't want to risk getting board locked by a bot, probably. No Bloodmage Talnos for Inkuro, though. And this is very awkward for Maxi, because he does not have the ability to full clear this board. He can play the Great Dracorex and Shield Slam the 6/6, preferably in the other order. So the Rattle from the 6/6 doesn't damage the Dracorex. And he is probably going to decide to do that. He's thinking about playing the all-you-can-eat for a hostile invader instead. Actually, this is really clever, because this allows him to potentially get this invader cleared with eruptions and then clean up the minions with the invader Death Rattle. That does not happen at the start of the turn, so the minions will get cleaned up, just not yet. Inkuro is going to use this invader actually to kill off his own minions to make more board space for this Webweaver draw to be available, although I don't think that's going to be a concern this turn. Actually, there are Fell Rifts in the deck. And this is a lot of damage coming through. Which, it is scary that he's doing this without Talnos, but there is the Talnos. I think this deck is basically all damage. This might be enough. 11 cards, the Warrior's at 32. I mean, 11 times 3 is more than 32. Are there any real cards in there? I think there might have been like at least one. Yeah, there's one Tusk. And the last card is a portal. The imp whatever thing from Tamsin. So it is actually not lethal. Maxi lives at 3 hit points and finds a brawl for this board. Plays a Bulwark and a Shield Slam. And Inkuro's Rogue will come up just short to be able to finish the game against the Warrior. So the Warrior does save itself from being swept. But we're not done here. We have more, at least one more game to go. Or maybe two, depending on how this game goes. This is Maxi's Death Knight versus Inkuro's Rogue again. The Death Knight has quite a bit of a harder time to get out of range of the Rogue's combo, and needs to oftentimes pressure the Rogue in order to have to send some asteroids into minions so that it can survive, or maybe just pressure the Rogue and try to just get the Rogue down to 0 HP instead of trying to control them like the Warrior usually does. Ninkuro again going for the high pressure hand, this mixologist technology from Maxi, which only him and Insane are playing in the Death Knight, coming in quite clutch to be able to clean up this board with the 2 AoE potion that also gains armor. Yeah, not much of a EMG hand, it's just a expensive card draw hand for Inkuro, which is exactly what he is doing. And Maxi does not actually go for the potion here, goes for the leech instead, which I guess functionally is about the same amount of life, and he could play a potion next turn with a 4-drop if he top decks one. So that is pretty clever indeed. He does not find a 4-drop to play, so he is just going to have to potion and hero power, which is a very sad turn for the Death Knight. But there is a Hideous Husk coming up next turn, which potentially can come down with a handler, but there is also a Maladar, which kind of incentivizes you to keep the corpses around, so we'll see what happens there. Yeah, decision for Inkuro, this is a map discover, I believe. Yeah, whether he wants a Mauler or a weapon. Not exactly sure why he decided to want a Mauler over a weapon. But he's setting up to coin the Incendious either way. It's a very good turn for Maxi, though, because the Husk with the Pterodax will allow Pterodax to kill the 2-1, and Leeches will destroy the Phoenixes, but since that will happen in the end of turn phase, then what am I saying? Then the Phoenixes will not return to the Rogue hand until the end of the Rogue turn, rather than the Death Knight turn. A little neat interaction there. And now, well, the Death Knight is up to as much hit points as he can be. That's at 41. But the Incendious is down, so the Eruptions will do 15. And we have, I think, a lot of Mauler damage, right? We did not have... I guess we played 1 Mauler this game, and I don't think we played a single Shadow Step. So there is a potentially up to 27 Mauler damage with 15 Eruption damage. That is more than 49 coming down. But now Maxi is at 45, which I believe means that the Rogue should be one off, unless there is some source of damage left. With maybe the O-Manager, maybe some Shadow Step that I'm not accounting for. Oh no, there is an extra Asteroid, so I think if the Asteroid just goes phase here, that will be lethal. I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure whether this will be lethal or not. It is very close. I know, this is only 3 Maulers, so this is only going to be 27. while the Death Knight is a 28. Quite crazy, actually. The Rogue does fatigue, so he decides to keep the Mauler instead of replaying it. Does not put the Death Knight to 1, hopes that the Death Knight just does not have a real turn. But again, first game against the Warrior he was 3 damage off lethal. This game he was 1 damage off lethal. Quite a crazy turn of events for Inkuro. And actually it's Maxi that finds lethal with the fatigue damage to Rogue and the Shaladris to AoE. And we go to game 5. And if you guys thought I will not be bringing you game 5 of this series, well, you're wrong. We are going to the Rogue Mirror. And in the Rogue Mirror, Inkuro goes on the play, Maxi on the coin. Inkuro has a 1-drop, able to push damage with that, probably. Maxi does not decide to keep the Platy off his own. Decides that if Inkuro would have a 1-drop, he does not want to play it, or even if Inkuro has a weapon, he would not want to play it into that. And Maxi does have one of the best cards in this Rogue deck to have early on, which is the weapon, allowing for the everything must go combos to happen. Inkuro does have a lot of minions though, and as we've seen from him today, he does love pushing minion damage with this Rogue deck. We'll have to play the Eat the Imp here to continue drawing cards. Eat his own 2-1. And Maxi does just coin a doobie, stays patient, waits for the everything must go turn to happen next turn rather than this turn. Does not go for it yet. Knows that there is likely no threat of everything must go coming down for Inkuro. But with this hand, with the weapon loaded, with the 2-mana doobie, it will be coming down next turn for Inkuro, so we'll have to see how well Maxi does with card draw on this turn. Double preparation though, and there is a second EMG on the Platy draw. That will get Maxi there. Now he's just like a little debating on what to do with this situation. Not a single card draw card in hand other than this Bloodmage Talnos. Will make it slightly awkward. Does not want to lose the Mauler if the Platy gets killed by an asteroid. But he does roll 2 4/7 taunts. With the Death Rattle to discard 3 cards, admittedly. But discarding the cards probably will not matter, as you just care a lot more about healthy minions in this matchup, since they are so difficult to kill. Yeah, Inkuro tries to counter with his own Everything Must Go turn, and we'll see what kind of minions he rolls. Well, there is a 4/5, but these minions are far lower quality than Maxi's minions. It's very unfortunate for Inkuro here. But unfortunately for Maxi, his hand doesn't actually do that much. I'm kind of surprised that Maxi did not decide to Twin Slice and doobie this turn. Not exactly sure what the reasoning is. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. I'm curious about this one though. Does play both the Maulers here, so if these Maulers die, there will be no good targets for Shadow Step. But maybe he just doesn't need the targets for Shadow Step, and I believe he did Shadow Step the Platy at some point, so there's only one left anyways. Yeah, and there is a chance that it gets destroyed by these taunts anyways. Inkuro does load up a lot of asteroids into the deck with the Mauler, replaying the Mauler, and finding another Shadow Step to replay the Mauler again. That is actually so many asteroids. No Bloodmage Talnos to help you clean up though. Does kill the Bloodmage for Maxi, which does lead to Maxi's Insidious, but he did not keep that coin to be able to coin it out. Cleans up a lot of the minions. Not that many important burns for Maxi. There was a Web Weaver and there was a Phoenix in there, but overall I think pretty okay. Manages to kill off the Grifta with the doobie, and Inkuro is looking very low here, only at 14 life, and Maxi has the possibility to play multiple minions here. I'm actually quite surprised by this play. He does decide to pick up the asteroid. I feel like if I was piloting this deck, I would just go in this situation. I'll just go all face with the minions and put the enemy down to 6, play 3 minions of my own. I guess the concern is... Oh, okay. Never mind what I said. I would have to imagine that the concern is that Inkuro could play Incendious coin out a Pladisaur. And given that Inkuro, I think, has only an Asteroid in the deck left, that is actually guaranteed for him if he wants to do it. So then going all phase would have probably lost the game. Yeah, does not decide to full trade though, pushes one of the minions face, I think. And now Inkuro Coin Plati does not sound as appealing, since you will not get the proc of the eruption damage, or you will not have a lethal setup as Inkuro. Maxi does not have a choice but to play this Incendious. Now, because Inkuro, I think, traded the Phoenix, he'll not have he might not have lethal. The Asteroid also hits the minion, which does not help. And there's only 2 damage left in Inkuro's hand. So I believe that means that yeah, Inkuro will just not be able to finish the game off. And Maxi just needs to draw his eruption. So he has 10 damage in the deck. And yeah, that will just be easy enough with the dagger. He'll finish the game off. And Maxi can't believe it, actually. With how hard this series has been. He's won, and he is our second top 8 player. Huge congratulations to him. Inkuro, I feel so sorry for him. He's played so well this entire day. And then one trade instead of going face. And that's all he needed. Like that's all that decided the series. Actually quite crazy. Because I don't think Maxi could have had lethal if Inkuro did not trade there. I mean, he can't really play, like, get the eruptions going. So yeah, just one, the smallest of mistakes, the smallest of bad decisions leads to Maxi's victory in this series, and Inkuro will have to satisfy himself with playing for the top 8 tomorrow. And the situation right now is as follows. We have Lovestorm advancing from Group C, Maxi advancing from Group D. The 1-1 players are Tansoku, Sayorin, Gabi, and Inkuro, having a good position to start with tomorrow. And first of all, though, the elimination matches. Pocket Train will be playing against Xiaoti for his life. So will Insane and Chonsu, Gyu and Philfeel, and Fury and Tianming. 8 matches tomorrow. I'll try to recap all of them for you. So stay tuned. And yeah, well, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day, night, wherever you are. I'll catch you next time. Bye!